666 million people have a fatty liver right now. Most of them do not know it, and nearly all of them have been told they are fine. That number is not from a wellness blog. That is from the Global Burden of Disease study, published in a medical journal. 666 million people carrying fat inside their liver, walking around with a condition their last blood test completely missed. You might be one of them. And if you are, nothing you have done makes sense. You eat reasonably, you try to move, you cut things out, you add things in, you do the work, and still the belly is there, the energy is not, the weight does not move, and you do not know why. Nobody has given you a real answer. So you start wondering if the problem is you. It is not you. What is happening has a name, a mechanism, a specific biological process you can see, measure, and reverse, and it has nothing to do with willpower, discipline, or how hard you try. Here's the thing nobody warned you about. Your liver has one job that overrides everything else, and when it starts doing that job wrong, every other system in your body fails alongside it. Your energy, your digestion, your brain, your belly, your sleep, your hormones, all of it. Controlled by one organ, sending one broken signal. And the most dangerous part, the part that should make you stay for every second of what comes next, is that the standard blood test your doctor ordered, the one that came back normal, was never designed to catch this. It catches the damage, not the cause. It fires the alarm after the fire has spread, not while the smoke is still building. Think about your last 3 weeks. You wake up at 7 in the morning already tired, not the tired that coffee fixes, the tired that is still there at noon. You eat lunch and by 2 in the afternoon your brain shuts off. You cannot think. You cannot focus. You sit at your desk rereading the same line over and over. You go home. You are too exhausted to do anything. You go to bed early, and you wake up the next morning just as tired as the day before. Or maybe it is the bloating. Every single evening. Full, tight, uncomfortable. Even on the days you ate almost nothing. Even on the days you did everything right. Or maybe it is the belly fat. The fat that sits exactly where no diet has ever touched it. The fat that ignored every calorie deficit you gave it. Every workout you threw at it. Every diet you tried around it. These are not 3 different problems. They are the same problem. Wearing 3 different masks, and the face behind the mask is your liver. Here is the villain in this story. It is not what you ate. It is not how much you moved. It is a specific type of fat that lives deep inside your abdomen, wrapped around your organs, and it has a direct channel to your liver. Every single minute of every single day, it uses that channel to send one instruction: store more, burn nothing. That fat is called visceral fat, and it has been quietly overriding every good decision you have ever made. This is not your fault. Your liver is not broken. It is not betraying you. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do in response to a signal it was never designed to receive in this quantity. When you understand that, the frustration stops, and the solution becomes clear. In this video, I am going to show you 7 specific signs that your liver is already in fat storage mode, not fat burning mode, fat storage mode. And I will show you what your body has been doing with each one. Signs that most people have been living with for years without connecting them to the real source. I need you to pay close attention to sign 3 because it will permanently change how you think about belly fat. Every piece of advice you have ever been given about it, every diet, every exercise plan, it all makes more sense, or much less sense, after sign 3. Sign 5 is the one that explains something you have probably never told anyone, because it sounds like an attention problem, or laziness, or getting old. It is none of those things. And I can prove it with research from Yale School of Medicine. And sign 7 is the one most people in this video will recognize and then immediately dismiss. Do not dismiss it. It is the one that tells you how much time you have left before this becomes a different conversation entirely. Stay with me. Every second of this video was built for exactly what you are feeling right now. Let us start with sign 1. Sign 1, the fatigue that sleep cannot fix. Here is what most people do. They feel exhausted every morning. They blame their sleep schedule. They try going to bed earlier. They try caffeine. They try pushing through. And nothing changes. Because they are treating the wrong organ. When your liver is storing visceral fat instead of burning it, it fails at one of its most essential jobs. Converting stored energy into usable fuel for your blood cells and your brain. Your liver should be running a process called gluconeogenesis, manufacturing glucose from fat reserves when your blood sugar drops. When a fatty liver cannot do this properly, you hit an energy wall that sleep cannot fix and caffeine cannot touch. The cascade looks like this. Fatty liver, impaired gluconeogenesis, blood sugar instability. Cortisol spike to compensate, further fat storage, deeper fatigue, and then it repeats every single day. The fix is not more rest. The fix is not more stimulants. The fix is reducing the inflammatory load that has stalled your liver's fuel conversion system. Sign 2. The bloating that diet cannot stop. Most people spend years treating bloating as a gut problem. They buy probiotics. They try elimination diets. They cut gluten. They cut dairy. And the bloating keeps returning. Because the source is not in the gut, it is upstream. A liver overloaded with visceral fat impairs bile production and bile flow. Bile is the digestive fluid your liver manufactures and pumps into your small intestine to break down dietary fat. When bile production drops, fat sits in your digestive tract partially processed. It ferments. It creates gas. It creates that feeling of tightness and distension you cannot explain. Research from multiple clinical hepatology sources confirms that frequent bloating after meals is one of the earliest and most overlooked signs of liver dysfunction. It arrives years before any blood test flags anything unusual. The gut is not the source. The gut is the first place the liver's failure becomes visible. Sign 3. Belly fat that refuses to move. And this is where most people stop believing me, because this one is the most counterintuitive thing I will say in this entire video. You have been told that belly fat is a calories problem. Eat less. Move more. The belly fat goes away. Here is what the research actually says. A study published in the American Journal of Physiology found that visceral fat, the fat around your organs, is the single strongest predictor of liver fat content, more predictive than subcutaneous fat, more predictive than BMI, more predictive than diet alone. Here is why. Visceral fat releases free fatty acids constantly into your portal circulation, directly into your liver. Your liver responds by producing more fat, more triglycerides, and suppressing fat-burning enzyme activity. The belly grows not because you are eating too much, but because your liver has entered a metabolic feedback loop that diet alone cannot break. A 2024 study in PLOS 1 using national health data confirmed that visceral fat specifically amplifies the effect of metabolic syndrome on liver disease risk, independently of everything else. The belly is not the problem. The belly is the symptom. The liver is the source. By the way, if you have never heard any of this before, this is exactly what this channel is built on. I break down liver health and metabolic function through the lens of actual biochemistry, not diet trends, not willpower advice. So you stop guessing and start understanding exactly what your body is doing, if that is what you want. Subscribe right now. All right, sign 4 is the one most people have never connected to their liver, and it is sitting on your skin right now. Sign 4, dark patches on your skin. This one surprises people every single time, and it should not, because your skin is one of the most honest reporters your liver has. Dark, velvety patches of skin appearing around the neck, armpits, elbows, or knees. The medical name is acanthosis nigricans. Most people who have them have been told it is a skin condition. Their dermatologist prescribed a cream. The cream did nothing. Because the source has nothing to do with skin, these patches develop in response to elevated insulin levels circulating in the bloodstream. When your liver develops insulin resistance from visceral fat flooding it with inflammatory molecules, your pancreas compensates by producing more insulin. That excess insulin travels through your blood and triggers skin cells to overgrow and darken. Clinical sources including Omega Hospitals and Sri Ramakrishna Hospital confirm this is a direct surface signal of the insulin resistance cascade driven by fatty liver. Your skin is showing you what your bloodstream knows, and your blood test missed. Do not treat the patch. Find the signal behind the patch. Sign 5. Brain fog that peaks every afternoon. You cannot think clearly after lunch. You read the same paragraph 3 times. You forget what you were about to say mid-sentence. You have been told this is stress, or distraction, or getting older. It is none of those things. It is a detoxification problem. And the organ responsible for that detoxification is your liver. Here is the cascade. Visceral fat, liver inflammation, impaired detoxification, neurotoxin accumulation in the bloodstream, brain fog. Your liver runs over 500 known chemical reactions, including the removal of ammonia and other metabolic waste from your blood. When it is overwhelmed by fat storage, that detoxification system slows down. Uncleared waste crosses the blood-brain barrier. What you experience as brain fog is your neurotransmitter system operating inside a toxic environment it was never designed to tolerate. NBC News and multiple clinical sources list confusion and cognitive difficulty as explicit symptoms of advancing liver dysfunction. But here is what stops people in their tracks. Yale School of Medicine research found that liver fat as low as 1.85%, far below the old diagnostic threshold of 5.56%, is already sufficient to impair metabolic and cognitive function. You do not need a sick liver for your brain to suffer. You need a slightly fatty one. Your afternoon collapse is not a focus problem. It is a liver problem arriving at your frontal lobe. Sign 6. Weight loss resistance despite real effort. This is the one that makes people the angriest. Because they are doing everything right, they are exercising, they are eating carefully, they are trying harder than anyone around them, and nothing is moving. Here is the biology behind that frustration. Your liver produces a hormone called fibroblast growth factor 21. Its job is to regulate fat burning across your entire body. When your liver is inflamed and fat-loaded, FGF21 signaling breaks down. Simultaneously, visceral fat suppresses a hormone called adiponectin, the hormone that tells your muscle cells to use fat as fuel. When both of these hormones fail at the same time, your fat-burning machinery runs at a fraction of its capacity. You can exercise every day and restrict every meal, and your body still cannot access its own fat stores efficiently. Because the instruction to burn fat is being blocked at the source, research from McMaster University published in Communications Medicine in November 2025 found something even more alarming. People with completely normal weight and normal appearance can carry dangerous visceral fat and liver silently building up inside them, thickening their arterial walls with no visible sign on the outside. This is the condition researchers call metabolically obese normal weight. The outside looks fine, the inside is in crisis. Weight loss resistance is not a failure of effort, it is a failure of liver signaling. Sign 7. Changes in urine color, stool color, or skin itching. These are the signs most people dismiss entirely. A change in urine color, a change in stool color, itching skin with no obvious cause. They seem unrelated. They are anything but. Dark yellow or brownish urine, unusually pale or clay-colored stools, skin that itches persistently without a rash. These are your liver's formal distress signals delivered through your elimination channels. Dark urine means bilirubin, a byproduct of red blood cell breakdown, is being routed through your kidneys instead of through bile. Because bile flow from the liver is compromised, pale stools mean insufficient bile is reaching your intestine. Itching skin means bile salts are accumulating in your bloodstream and depositing under the skin surface. These are not early warning signs. These are the liver escalating. Cleveland Clinic and Medical News Today both list these as indicators that the liver has moved beyond simple fat accumulation into functional impairment. If you are seeing any of these, the conversation with your doctor needs to happen this week, not someday. Your elimination channels do not lie. They are the last line of communication before the damage becomes irreversible. Now, before you close this video and go run blood tests, stop, because this is where most people make the single mistake that cancels out everything. The assumption is this: if my liver enzymes come back normal, my liver is fine. This is one of the most dangerous ideas in modern medicine. Liver enzymes, the ALT and AST numbers on a standard blood panel, can be completely normal, even when significant fat has already accumulated in the liver and metabolic dysfunction is already advanced. Research confirmed by UB Health and multiple hepatology institutions is clear on this. In Yale School of Medicine's landmark study, liver fat at 1.85%, well below the old 5.56% clinical threshold, was already driving insulin resistance and elevated cardiovascular risk in young, lean, healthy individuals who had no idea anything was wrong. Their blood tests looked perfect. Their livers were not. A normal blood panel is not a green light. It is the absence of a red light. Those are not the same thing. The imaging tests that actually catch early hepatic steatosis are ultrasound, CT scan, and MRI. Most people never receive these until symptoms have already advanced. The rule is clear. If you are experiencing 3 or more of the 7 signs in this video, that is enough reason to push for imaging, regardless of what your last blood test said. Critical warning. The fire starts long before the smoke detector goes off. Normal enzymes mean the threshold has not been crossed yet. They do not mean the threshold will not be crossed tomorrow. What you are sending your liver. These 7 signs are not 7 separate problems. They are 7 readings from one instrument, and the instrument is your liver. When you address the liver, the signals begin to shift across all 7 at the same time. You signal to your liver to resume fat oxidation when you reduce the inflammatory food load that is overwhelming it. Seed oils, ultra-processed carbohydrates, excess fructose. These are not just bad foods, they are direct inputs into the liver's overload cycle. You signal to your visceral fat to reduce its inflammatory output when you add 150 minutes of moderate movement per week. Research cited by Women's Health Network confirms that aerobic exercise, even at walking pace, directly reduces liver fat content independently of total weight loss. You signal to your insulin system to restore sensitivity when you protect your sleep, because a single night of poor sleep reduces insulin sensitivity by up to 40%. You signal to your detoxification pathways to reopen when you support bile flow through adequate hydration, dietary bitters, and reduced alcohol intake. These are not tips. These are biological signals, and your liver responds to signals. By the end of the first week, the bloating begins to ease as bile production stabilizes. Meals feel lighter. The tightness after eating starts to fade. By week 2, the afternoon energy crash softens. Your brain starts clearing faster because the detoxification pathways are reopening. The fog has less material to work with. By week 4 to 6, visceral fat begins to respond. Research confirms that losing just 5 to 10% of body weight significantly reduces liver fat, and most of that reduction comes from visceral fat first, before subcutaneous fat shifts at all. By week 8, fat loss arrives as a side effect, not because you are trying harder, but because your liver has resumed its role as your body's primary metabolic engine. You are not fighting your biology anymore. You are finally working with it. Without even trying to lose fat, you are losing fat, because the signal finally changed. Before I give you the close, I want to hear from you. Comment below. Which of these 7 signs are you experiencing right now, and which one surprised you the most? I read every single comment, and I reply to as many as I can. And if this has genuinely taught you something you did not know before, hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second, and it tells the algorithm to show this to the people who need it. Okay, let me leave you with the most important thing I want you to carry out of this video. Most people spend years attacking the symptom. They cut calories, they add cardio, they try every supplement the algorithm recommends. They measure and restrict and exhaust themselves, and 6 months later they look in the mirror and the deep fat is still there. The dangerous fat is still there. Because the answer was never on their plate or in the gym, the answer was always in an organ no one told them to look at. Here is the core truth of everything you heard today. Burning visceral fat is not a battle of willpower. It is a negotiation with your biology. Your liver is not your enemy. Your visceral fat is not your punishment. They are parts of a system that received wrong instructions from processed food, from chronic stress, from years of inflammatory signals your body was never built to absorb at this volume and this duration. Your body is not broken. It is not stubborn. It is not working against you. It has been running the most ancient survival program it knows. Store fat, conserve energy, prepare for threat, because that is the only instruction it received. Tonight, you change the instruction. You change the signal, and when you do, your liver, the organ that has quietly been holding on through all of it, will respond, because that is exactly what it was designed to do. Tomorrow morning, that scene in the mirror gets a different script, not because you pushed harder, but because you finally understood what your liver has been trying to tell you all along.